Warning, younger viewers be advised. Soulcast contains coarse language. Check out our other videos if this proves inaccessible. If not, enjoy the cast. Alright, g'day everyone. Welcome back to Soulcast Season 3, Episode 3, but actually 2. We recorded the second episode like a while ago, like a fair while ago. And I don't know if you guys remember the ordeal with the first ever Soulcast episode.
Going deep into the lore now.
Yeah,
this
deep
is
lore.
like
The first ever Soulcast
really,
episode.
really
Soulcast
back.
episode 0, as it is known throughout the sacred texts, was fucked up due to a shitty recording on someone's part. We shall not name them. No naming and shaming.
They're gone now. It doesn't matter. They're gone.
Just as we are not going to name who fucked up Soulcast Season 3 episodes 2.
Yeah, we won't name that person.
Yeah, it's only fair.
No, we won't name that person at all. No.
We won't name them either. But someone did that.
Someone.
Yeah, whoever you think it was, leave it in the comments.
You wouldn't think they did it, but
no, that's your hint. So you can leave that in the comments below who you think that is.
Pick your guess.
We're pretending this is episode 2, but in reality it's episode 3. And the segue is stark, seeing as how at the end of episode 1, I believe it was the episode in which we had just submitted Muris to the Australian STEM Video Game Challenge. And now, in episode 2, the winners have been announced for the Australian STEM Video Game Challenge, which you all will know if you've been keeping up to date with the video spam we put out last week. And, guys, we did it. We pulled out ahead.
Guys, we did do it.
Guys, we pulled out ahead. If you watch the video we put out, the start of the video was like an intro that I edited of all of our entries leading up to this point, and how they progressively get less and less shit until it gets to Muir. I recently, like a fucking archaeologist, dug up Gigabit, our first ever entry from my old laptop. I fucking excavated that shit. And I now actually have it. I have not only just the expendable, but I actually have the files for the Unity project.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, so I actually have all the code and like all the assets and like everything. So that could be exciting to do something
It's like the one surviving project from like before the destruction of the SSD.
That shall not be
before
named.
the burnings of the Library of Alexandria.
Yeah, before that happened.
Wait, have we even introduced ourselves
yet?
yet?
Cataclysm. No, this is the... Yeah, it's fine.
This is the long-winded introduction.
Yeah, and as a natural segue onto that, of course, in those libraries, it does state that my name is Jade or Dash, as I'm referred to.
Yes,
on the podcast.
And
it is also written that...
that my name is Maxwell or Monarch on those sacred texts.
Yeah, and it is also written, I don't know, maybe a lot further or hiding away somewhere, that my name's Moz.
Oh, yeah, you can find it in the contents page, like the glossary at the back. If you just scroll and find it, you can find it from there. It might be split
the
up
sneaky index. You just have to start going around.
Yeah, otherwise, no.
Yeah, and we're here. We're here to talk a little bit about what has transpired over the last weekend, which was PAX Australia. I know each
PAX
of us
Australia online.
Yeah, virtual. Yeah, PAX Australia. Each of us shoot into like a little separate, different bit of the event, and I think it'll be interesting to see when the minds come together, what it is that we have to say about it. In addition to that, we'll just have some general Soulcast stuff going on, but that is going to be the meat of the discussion.
Indeed.
So, with that out of the way, guys, do we want to kick ourselves off with what was the deal with PAX this year? Does either of you want to say what happened? Probably Max. Max, what happened with PAX this year?
PAX this year. Any particular area I should be?
No, what was it? What is it? Please inform the audience of what this coronavirus thing is.
What the coronavirus is? Yeah. Well, all right, guys.
I think start from build it from the ground up.
Okay,
providing the full context.
Okay, so 60 million years ago, right? Okay, maybe that's a bit too far.
Alex, you didn't laugh at him.
Yeah, thanks for laughing, guys. You're really hyping me up. You're getting poker faces from you assholes. No. like a little while ago, a little thing called COVID-19 sprang up, and it kind of was a pain in the ass for literally everyone in the entire world, and it's kind of removed that element of being able to like be together in real space, because that's how things spread, and then when things are spread, it kind of kills people.
A crash course in fucking viruses.
Yeah, biology, baby, let's go. And so as a result, people use this thing called the internet to virtually hang out with people, and this can extend as far from just like talking with like people, doing like podcasts and stuff, or even doing like online school,
like the telephone, but.
So yeah, pretty much. Just but like a bit more advanced than the telephone, just like a little bit more advanced.
How?
Anyway,
What's the difference?
Well, maybe we can get into that later on. But basically, so what happens is, it can be used for things like doing calls and for like online school and stuff, which was quite prominent with the whole COVID law. But one thing that it was definitely used for a lot in this context is for virtualizing big groups of people all getting together. Like PAX,
kind of like
right?
PAX, right?
Yeah, kind of like PAX.
Like
convenient
PAX.
enough
Yeah.
for this explanation. PAX Australia was virtualized, I think, for the second year in a row. Last year we had like a blanket PAX online, I believe.
Did you guys go? Did you guys go to that?
No, I didn't at all.
I didn't. Yeah, I think I just blocked that out from my mind entirely.
Yeah, I think I got like one ad for it, and then I was like, "Yo, PAX is online," and then I just didn't even know when it was on, and it already happened.
I was too busy wallowing in my sadness. I just wanted to. I didn't. It would just make me more sad to be there on the virtual PAX, because it went for. Didn't last year's one go for like 10 days? Wasn't it like 10 days?
Yes, it was because you had to compress all of the different regions of PAX into one big slew of like thing, and I think wasn't it along when we had our like yearly exams as well?
I don't know
for year 11. I think it was because that was like what deterred me from even getting curious about it.
Yeah, I have no idea if it was good or not.
So this year's PAX was regionally based, so it was the Australian PAX, but just online, and so you would have 3 days, which is the same as you would for normal PAX, of the standard PAX content. So that's like all things nerd, all things video game, tabletop, discussing stuff.
It's basically just games.
Pretty much.
It's just any type of game.
Basically just like games and like nerd culture, and it was pretty good. Of course, it's well. I mean, okay, it's good in the like for an online exhibition, right? Because obviously you can't match the atmosphere and the hype of the real thing.
No, but that being said,
I didn't think it was too. Yeah.
That being said, I think you could still do a better job with how.
Yeah, I agree.
With how it was organized.
Yeah.
So
it was fine.
Yeah. It was, yeah. I'm glad that they still like run something and
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, then rather than just like fuck it, wait till next year, motherfuckers.
Yeah. No, but also like considering like context of how real life PAX was kind of
it was happening
relatively
like
late. So I guess with all things considered, it wasn't too bad.
Because
cobbled together.
That's true. We got to give leeway to the team because
that's what
IRL PAX was happening. For like the first half of the year, and then only recently was when things got shit again. They were like, okay, fuck, we gotta can it again. And
when the second coming of COVID.
Yeah, and these things are planned
really took Australia by storm.
Yeah, these things are planned like far in advance, so they would have basically had it all sorted out by that point, and then they were like, oh no, fuck it, start from scratch. But. That being said, there were still some panels going on, and I think each of you went and tuned into several panels. I don't know how much overlap there is. But for either of you, is there any panels that you would like to talk about in particular? Any that you disappointed by? Any that you saw? Anyone?
I mean, I didn't watch that much stuff. I was kind of doing like a bunch of just like art shit over like the weekend, and I was kind of just like in the zone. I wasn't really focusing on like other stuff. I mean, I was tuning in for some other things, which we might talk about later on in terms of specifically Soulcube related. But I did watch an interesting panel about games being archived for the national sound and for national Film and Sound Archives, I think it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, I only tuned in for like a bit of it. I missed the first half of it. It was really interesting, and how games, as they're being recognized more as like art forms, people are starting to go, hey, maybe this has quite like a large amount of like cultural significance. So maybe with like along with like other things, it should probably be preserved. Because they are quite important, and especially in our day and age with like COVID and stuff. Like a large part of being able to cope with the whole quarantine and isolation and such is definitely games.
Online world.
Yeah, and that's actually what they talked about as well. Notably because like one of the dudes who was like in charge of it all, like in charge for curating Australian games to be put into the archives.
Wait, this dude's just like the one dude in charge. He's like the fucking gatekeeper who decides whether or not the games.
No, I think he was like head of like that sector. So he was like representing the whole archives. I think, but hey, I missed the first half of it, so I don't know what the fuck's going on. And so yeah,
is that what he gets paid to
like,
do? Is that his like
about...
full time job? He just decides which games go in the museum. Yeah,
I don't know. I think he like primarily just kind of does like a bunch of stuff at the archives, I imagine, but he was tasked with doing the whole gaming like project. Because I don't think you'd like
they just come to him. They just
open up in like the paper and just be like, someone this mob's looking for people who want to curate games. Okay.
Well, they just come to him with like games, and then they're like, he just goes and plays them, and then he decides whether or not they go in the fucking archive or not.
I don't know how
it's
it works, right?
It's like the Roman emperors, right, where they have the the games have to battle, and he just chooses those not.
Just the thumb. Yeah, he just like sits back like on his chair with like his thumb out. It was interesting. Yeah, and he'd be like talking about how it's like different from like other like forms of like media. How since it's very like interactive, it's kind of hard just to take the game up and put it on a shelf and be like, oh yes, here it is. Because you have like a lot of
that's anything like, in the film and sound like archive.
Yeah. That's
still what he. Fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's what he was elaborating on in the thing. But
have you guys been there to like the archive?
I think when I was in like year 5 and we went for like the classic routine Canberra school trip.
Yeah, I think I've been there like once before. It's fucking weird.
We did the ghost tour.
Yeah, I think I've
pretty cool. Yeah, it was sick.
Cool.
I think it was either that. It was either in the sound archives or the National Library. I forget.
They all just get mixed up. They all have like the exact same.
It's
vibe.
all the same thing.
All those like government like art buildings all have the exact same aesthetic. I cannot differentiate them in my mind at all.
Yeah, and like you go down and you just have all like the big shelves, and like they're all like mechanical, and they can just like kind of like move and shit. And it's all like pneumatic, I think, like hydraulic. I forget.
Yeah, I actually kind of like to go to like an art gallery now that I'm older and have a bit more appreciation of art myself.
Yeah,
I remember we used to go to like the museum and shit a lot, like up in Darwin. And I used to hate it. I was like so fucking bored. I was like, oh my god, this is all the same shit that we see every single fucking time we go to the museum. I didn't care about any of it. But now I wonder
like museums.
Yeah, I wonder if I went now, if I would have more of an appreciation for it all. Maybe still not enough to see it every single year, but
actually, a bit of a side story with that one. Last year, in January last year, in Canberra at the museum there, they had like a little exhibit for DreamWorks production. So they had all like
Shrek.
These fucking
Shrek
literally, dude, literally, yeah. So they had all of like the whole like animation art shit, like set up temporarily for like this big exhibition about just like the whole studio and stuff. It was really really cool. I bought. Actually, it's up here. I have it.
Shrek merch.
Show and tell.
Oh fuck! I just hit.
Yeah, Alex, we've really got a lot of responsibility on our shoulders to describe what it is he's getting.
I bought this book.
Yeah. Wow.
It's a concept art book from it. It's really really fun.
That's the Shrek logo, right? The Kung Fu Panda logo.
I didn't hear what you just said, so it been
name 5 DreamWorks films right now.
So you got Shrek 1.
No,
you got,
only one from each franchise is allowed.
You got How to Train Your Dragon. You got The Croods. You got Shrek. So that's 3.
No, you already said Shrek.
You said Shrek. He said there's 3. He's 3.
Yeah.
You can.
Okay.
You
So
got
we've
two more.
got two more.
You're missing the best one.
Isn't the B movie DreamWorks?
That's definitely not the best one, so we're not counting it.
Okay, fine.
Damn,
Well then, okay, then what is the best one?
It's Kung Fu Panda.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
Fair enough.
one more.
One more.
Okay, what does? Okay, fine. DreamWorks. Fuck.
What's in the book?
Oh.
What the fuck is in the book? If
Fuck,
Yeah, it's right in front of you. Look at the fucking.
Okay, fine. I'll look at
bloody
the
time.
first page.
No, I thought it had little pictures of people on the cover.
No, it just had
Oh,
the.
it does.
Yeah, just pick one of them.
We've literally named all of them. Oh, you got fucking
they only have 4
Madagascar.
films.
You got Madagascar.
Madagascar!
No, 'cause it has
Oh, I
its-
can't believe you excluded
Whoa.
that. That was
Yeah.
a.
I forgot it was DreamWorks. All right.
What?
I thought this was.
This is what we're
DreamWorks.
talking about.
No, I said I forgot it was Dream. I forgot that film was.
All that I heard is I thought it was
Same.
DreamWorks.
No,
me,
I
me
forgot.
and Moz are on the same page. Me and Moz are on the
Yeah.
same page. Well, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, it was
very
fun.
cool.
That's interesting.
Very cool.
Well, thanks for that. Thanks for that little tidbit.
Yeah, no worries. I thought it'd make it a bit interesting.
Wow, thanks, bro. Cheers, bro.
Yeah, no
Moz,
worries.
you seem to be like pondering something. Like your mind is thinking. Is either elsewhere or is thinking about something.
No, both. I'm thinking about the panels that I watched.
Yeah.
I watched, I think, 4 during PAX.
What was the best
I
one?
can't. Best one, I'd probably have. Oh, I don't know. I think the one that I thought was rather interesting was the decolonizing games and game spaces. Which Jade also attended.
He was watching.
And I think one that I actually enjoyed, Jade didn't go to because he was streaming. It was like a games. It was like a games and education esque like thing, but it was basically educating the audience on a lot of the dopamine hits and that games
All
provide,
right.
and a lot of the like a science,
Oh, like a health
looked at it.
perspective. On
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
which was interesting. But unfortunately, I can't remember too much, which is why I had my phone out before.
Yeah,
to
you're
try
trying to
and-
work out,
back
trying
it
to scour for some
Yeah.
information.
Yeah.
No massive takeaway from that. Or...
Oh no! Just one of the quotes that she had, like, flow.
He's going to get the quote. He's
Not
going to
even
get the
good.
quote. Yeah, you go find
It
that.
was, it was interesting. It was interesting because it like flew right in the face of stuff, so it was so cool.
I'll cover for you where you go.
Yeah. Okay,
One of the panels that I wanted to see, but I didn't end up seeing because there was only one guy on the panel. So I assumed when it came up, I just assumed it was like some other thing. But it was everything but writing, unsung aspects of narrative design. And going off the blurb, it was like talking about the other ways to tell narrative other than just raw, like text and stuff. Which is something that I would have liked to go watch, but the fact that it was just one dude like talking for 45 minutes.
Isn't that just like a speech?
Yeah, it's not really much. It's not a. You can't call it a panel. It's not a panel.
Yeah, I was like, isn't that just It's
there
like
is no
just, like,
panel.
yeah,
There is no.
because
panel.
like a panel is where you can like bounce off things from each other and like take turns and be like, "What do you think about this?" And they
Yeah.
go, yeah."
Yeah, and I feel like off on that, I feel like a lot of the panels that I saw didn't really have that much bouncing off and like discussion between the panelists. It was more like everyone had their own sort of little speech to give.
Yeah, it was very
kind of,
sequenced.
went in order.
Especially with the decolonizing.
Yeah, and the ones that we did with the like the literary games guys.
Yeah,
It was like where they had the PowerPoints and they each went through that.
when they each
PowerPoint.
had their entirely separate thing.
Yeah.
Because you had like I think one dude who was like the head of it, and he was kind of like directing everyone.
Yeah, I feel like most of them were like
Yeah.
that. They had like a host panelist, and they were just like, "All right, you tell us what your little segment is. You tell us
Yeah.
your little segment." And usually, that kind of works because then at the end of a panel, it usually opens up to the floor, and then people go up, ask questions, and then it bounces off, and that's when the discussion happens, right?
Yeah, of course.
On the fly. But because it wasn't live, most of the things weren't live, and there were no like live questions. That wasn't really a part of the panels, which is something that you
Yeah.
would have got at IRL packs. And I think that's I don't know why they didn't just do it live. I feel like
Yeah,
it's a
I mean, you had some panelists in the Twitch chat.
yeah
I saw on like the chat. They were like, "Yeah, we have the people in the chat asking you questions," but You know.
Yeah. And it is, yeah, I don't know. Because it is the weekend, right? But those people are only there for like an hour. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure if you're paying them, right, then you can pay them for a weekend for an hour just to do your live panel, and then that would actually get people to be in the Twitch chat and asking questions. And I feel like I'd be a lot more involved if I knew that there was some interaction there.
Yeah, same. And then you had like other streams, like the gaming ones, and like some of the ones I think on like Sunday I saw like 2 streams that were both live.
Yeah, there were
With,
some
like,
live streams, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, hang on, so how can these ones be, and then the other ones?
The weirdest ones were the
pretty
ones that like were live. They were VODs of existing live streams. Those were the weirdest.
Yeah.
That was just weird. I was like, what? This is
You're like asking chat, but not the real chat.
Yeah, like you could see like their on-screen chat from like when it was actually recorded, and it was
Yeah.
there was nothing in the real chat, and I was
so
like,
weird.
yeah, it was just bizarre. It was just bizarre. Moss, have you found your quote?
No, but I found some information. She was basically going on that flow-based games, so games that are all about immersion,
Yeah.
just about dopamine hits, like quick little dopamine hits, and are just like addictive little like gremlin games, and they shouldn't be, they're abusing the human mind's like construction, and real games should be ones that are like the plant one, where you grow your little plants and it teaches you how to grow a plant. Or it should be strategy games like chess, where you devoid of a story that could immerse. It was really weird because it was she was like, because these other ones, they're flow based, they just go up and down in like a, I don't quite remember, so I'm butchering, of course, but it was they're like cheap ways of getting people to play a game because it's just based on an addictive factor. Right. Whereas these other games, you have to like force yourself to play, like chess, or like these little plant games.
Yeah,
it was strange.
Yeah,
because I just remember that watching it, it was really interesting because it was just a really different take, and it flew in the face of people saying, "Oh, I want to create a story to tell something and to teach something," and then she was like, "No, these flow-based games shouldn't be, they're just addictive."
Yeah, I think they're
things
harmful.
That aren't
yeah,
true.
They're not worth much.
Yeah,
because
right,
what I have an issue with that is one thing you said. It was like they're just like exploiting like how the brain works or something around that. Whatever you said, but isn't that like any art medium? Like all like techniques in any art medium are playing.
Yeah, it's like art is exploiting your empathy. If you have
to get
your ability to.
Yeah, like a human brain naturally gets different like responses when it sees different colors and stuff. Is that like exploiting the fucking human brain by creating an artwork?
So are things meant to just like not resonate with you?
Yeah, I don't know.
So it's like, okay, this isn't trying to manipulate you. It's fine, guys.
Yeah, because there's the other side of that argument too, where it's like in things like horror movies, you don't want to. It's not interesting to just play off that primal like jump scare sort of thing. Like it's not interesting. But that could be argued to be the same thing, where it is just exploiting that human response to a sudden noise or visual.
Yeah,
like I can see that aspect of it, but then I don't think making like a story and immersion within art. Any form of art, not just games, is I suppose a bad thing. Like I feel like that's games' biggest strength is that they allow immersion. Or one of their biggest strengths is that the interactivity is exactly what it adds is that aspect of immersion or further immersion.
Yeah.
It's like books. It's like books.
It was strange because after that, it was like good, and then she went on about her project that she did for like the rest of it, which was quite upsetting because it was
so
like
she just started spruiking about the stuff.
Yeah, because the beginning was like, oh yeah, this is really interesting, and then she went on about her little sculpture thing that she made with students for an exhibition, and that was the rest of it. It was basically just a like a process diary, like one of those,
Okay.
of just how they
Yeah,
do it.
yeah, yeah.
So it was like so jarring because it was like I was like, what the hell?
Was there
What
any
is this?
like abstract linking to like her project and the actual panel, or
Kind of. They were. I mean, a lot of it was less about like it was just like having lots of separate entities like existing, and or just like being existing in like a virtual space, not really a story to go along with it. It's just like you kind of exist in it because they just made this weird dome with these weird lights and
This is such an abstract panel.
yeah,
This is
no,
so
it was weird. It was a really
This is
strange
so
panel.
Weird.
But
Yeah.
like they had cushions. That by the end of it, she said like the best thing that people said about it was that we had comfy cushions, and then I was like, "What the
Oof.
fuck?" Oh, I don't know.
You can.
Like, what
you
the hell?
literally, you're confused every single episode that we do.
Yeah,
You always like take back
never
like
know.
your swear.
I never know if we're PG or not. Who knows? Yeah, but it was like, what the hell was the point of your? Obviously, no one got like your message. I don't even know what her message was. But anyway, that was an interesting one.
Yeah,
interesting?
It was
stood out
interesting.
to you. I think another one that we watched together was the one about metagaming and metagames. The games,
Yeah.
the games within games.
Yeah, there was. Oh, that's right. That's when I had all the links, right?
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
like 7. Yeah, all the time they kept on putting links, it was very accurate. Games are, they are very pertinent to our consciousness, like our cultural consciousness.
The interpretation. And
Yeah,
everything, yeah.
and like Link and Mario, every bloody person knows Mario
Yeah.
Mhm.
and Luigi and stuff.
Mhm.
And these are cultural artifacts in which they hold a lot of significance. They hold as much significance, I say, to the general popular. Oh, I don't know. I was going to say I was going to say as like Macbeth as an example, because of just like how much people know these characters and understand what they did, because everyone has to know Macbeth through English.
That's like
studies.
saying, yeah, that's kind of like saying like Dwayne the Rock Johnson is at the same cultural
Everything.
thing as Macbeth, right?
I mean,
think,
hey, a lot of people know.
Yeah, I'm out here
know
trying to
Rock.
like recall the Macbeth plot. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like cultural impact and just like a general populist knowledge are two different things. Like
Yeah.
Shakespeare's works definitely shaped like the artistic landscape from that point in time, right? Whereas, like the
Mario has though shaped a lot of the game.
the games have
games.
what Mario has
Yeah.
done. Mario has
their
done
own.
is it sort of gave rise to like actual like protagonists in games, like actual like characters. Whereas before that, you just played as like whatever weird thing, like a spaceship or like an unnamed fucking thing. But then Mario
Yeah.
was the first game to be like, this is our series where you play as this little Italian plumber dude called
Yeah,
Mario.
with reoccurring characters and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was like,
That was sort of what Nintendo sort of innovated with and sort of got that train going.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Because that was a trend through those early games. Like even on like I remember on the PS2, like all the games I would play would just be like whatever face character it was, whether it be like Crash Bandicoot or like Ratchet and Clank. It was just these reoccurring like characters. It's like in movies, people used to be really big on like the actors, like the big stars. Like you'd get the big movie stars, and they'd be like, "Oh, this movie stars in this movie." We're just like,
Oh my gosh, no way! Chris Pratt is playing Mario.
But in games, it was just
should
like
actually be quite funny.
in games, it was just like if you played the latest Crash Bandicoot game, like what's up with Crash Bandicoot this time,
Yeah.
right? So that's the innovation there, and I suppose that is. I find it hard then connecting that to actual cultural values of our time, right? Compared to more literary texts like Shakespeare's.
I
plays
mean,
and stuff.
yeah, because one of the presenters there used Link as like something that she looks upon a lot in her life. I don't have any. There is no game. I think it's just because I haven't really been like immersed in like a game a lot to that extent.
Yeah, you haven't really played much like narrative or literary games at all. Like
No.
you played Minecraft.
It's because no, it's because I still I'm still not sure about their like if I wanted to consume this is a big statement on my behalf,
okay.
especially
Big take.
against these
A
two.
big hot take.
No, but like if I'm to consume a literature and I want to be engrossed in the story and understand like human concepts and stuff, I'll be much more inclined to watch a movie or read a book than play a game. It's just because I don't
You
think
haven't tried it. You haven't tried it.
I know I haven't
You
tried
haven't
it, but I don't see because I feel the whole thing that I am playing it. It's just it. I would have to think about it more, but it feels a lot worse. It's like a lesser experience to the end because I know that I will be engrossed in getting the best sword. If I play a game or getting the best armor or something, and that's really I would feel taking away from what I should be focusing on, which is the story and stuff.
Okay,
But
so here's
I know that I will be, I will want to get these things, and I believe that it's much better if I watch a playthrough of one of these games where I don't have to think about like getting this stuff. I can just kind of watch and just take in like a story.
Right.
Yeah. Or like the controls and stuff, like because sometimes it's a hard boss battle and you can just be all of the story disappears because you're just trying to like get through this part. You don't really evaluate like all the steps coming up to it. I suppose So I don't know. I just much rather focus on one of the hard. I'd call like games like soft literature and like books and film hard literature. It's like soft science and hard science. Jay doesn't like that.
I don't like that take at all. I'm not even going to address. I'm not even going to address that on that episode. I'll address your previous. What you were saying before though about like distractions from like the narrative experience in the game itself.
Yeah.
I'd like to bring up a game, The Return of the Obra Dinn. It's like a mystery game, and the whole gameplay in that is basically working out the narrative. It's a mystery game. You basically have to solve the mystery of this ship by playing through like a bunch of frozen sequences in time and observing what's going on and what's happened, who's doing what, and everyone on the ship. And there's about 60 people on this massive fucking ship. And what you have to do is you have to work out what happened to everyone and what happened to the Obra Dinn. What happened to it? And that is the gameplay. That is what you're doing. It is the mystery game. Everything you do is to further that narrative. So there are games where the narratives and the gameplay are one and the same. Like it's not always
but
independent of each other.
Yeah. So the gameplay. Well, yeah. So the gameplay there is to uncover the narrative rather than gameplay being tacked onto narrative and using it as like a device to move forward.
Yeah, there was this article I read a while ago when I was doing research for my Extension 2 major work, where they classified games as, I think it was like interactive narratives and something else. And then they used like two like fancy Greek terms for them, but it was basically games where the narrative supported the gameplay, and games where the gameplay was there for the narrative. It was like which served which. And I think
and that's so I suppose that is like an actual narrative focused game.
Yeah.
Because let's say that I really liked The Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
We had that whole
the whole spiel a long time ago, deep in the lore.
But
16, my guess.
The gameplay was typical gameplay of any shooter. Right? Yeah. It was that typical stuff. And, I suppose, that doesn't... I would get, too focused on just, trying to do this and how cool it looks and less into the plot.
Yeah.
Although I watched a playthrough of it, so I was more engrossed in the plot because I didn't have to actually think about how I'm going to, fucking grab the shit and collect all these items and whatnot. I can just say, I'll just take in the...
Yeah, but the reason why games like that have a story is to force you to play through these things to get to the next spot, right? It's just like a little icing on the top of their gameplay, right? Whereas not all games are like that. And I do find it hard to justify the validity of those games well, not validity. They obviously are valid as things, but like as you were saying, soft and hard literature. Talking about those games, I would consider them like softer literature than it's like, but it's that you have the same thing in any form, right? You have you have
But I still
light
find
fiction
like with a
art of fiction in any
with,
in any.
Yeah, like
form.
I don't watch fucking Transformers for the plot.
yeah,
I don't think anyone does.
You always have that like that fast literature, that fast game.
Yeah, it's like we're talking about
just-
Shakespeare's plays before. You got Shakespeare's plays, and then you got fucking Mamma Mia.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Then you got Mamma Mia, which is that's not hard fiction, is it?
No, it's just kind of like it's just entertainment.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, but see, it's like yes, it's just entertainment. It's like some of the games, like it's just dopamine hits and stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot with also narrative focused games, I tend like I know I don't like. I'm speaking from a very small sample size, which could obviously therefore be that I'm very wrong. But again, like I just get lost in it because with like a book or with a film, you have time, like a minute passes and stuff has to move forward. There's a minute of film that has to exist.
Yeah.
And then like a book, there are words that you have to read to like gather the thing.
You can pause. You can stop reading.
You can pause. Yeah, you can pause and think.
Sneaky bookmark
Yeah,
strat.
but I'm saying it's like you can't really be lost in where you are in the story because that's like at that point. Sure, you can be lost in what the fuck the story means, but you're not like lost in how to progress in the story because you just read on or you just watch the rest of the movie. With a game, like I could like go and talk to blokes and I could do something and I could be like, oh shit, I got no fucking clue now what I'm doing. And then there's a point there where I don't like the story. I'm just like, oh, I'm just stuck here trying to figure out. And then, maybe that's intentional gameplay. But sometimes I might think you can't really compensate for shitty game design as intentional. Like you're meant to make the player confused as just an example if like you're meant to be lost. If it's not like directly given to you or stuff, I think that it just kind of destroys immersion in that aspect. Or you just kind of get lost and then you put it away and you never go back to it because you know that if you go back to it, you're going to be stuck at that same point. So it's the words to progress aren't clear.
I feel like that's a valid take. I'll bring up a game like Firewatch where it is mostly linear, except there are segments where you have to get between like to your destination. To get there, there's no like big fucking arrow or like trail on the road that you have to follow. You get given a map and a compass, and you have to actually use that map and the compass to fucking navigate your way through where it is you're trying to get to. And you can get lost doing that. And as you just said, you don't think that having it intentionally the player be confused is an excuse for such game design. Yeah. But in a game like Firewatch, I think it does help immerse the player. Like instead of just a big fucking white arrow, or like a red arrow that fucking like orients you to where you have to go. It's like you actually have these tools that you have to use to get somewhere. And
there will certainly be games, like that. Which I haven't played, in which it assists it, because that's a game all about traversing like those massive areas and having to manage a whole lot and
it's being shut off. It's shut off from like everything, right? It's just big open space with nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. So it really assists in that story. But I think just in some aspects it can, with like narrative, like solely like narrative driven, sometimes you can get that just because it's unclear where to progress.
Yeah,
but anyway, that was my little spiel on that.
Yeah, I think I agree with that too. I did get stuck on playing What Remains of Edith Finch. There's one like bit where there was one bit where I'm not going to spoil it, but I had no idea where the fuck to go. Actually, had no idea where to go. I walked around the entire fucking like house like fucking 5 times until I worked out where I need to go. And I will say that the game was made in such a way that me doing that wasn't that much of a feel bad, because the entire house was packed full of like extra lore and details and everything that still helped me keep in the world itself. Like it wasn't like I was looking for the next exclamation mark upon another character's head, right? It was like I was like searching through a house. Like if you were to go out now to go search for an item in your house that you didn't know where it was, you would go through everything and you're searching through it, right? You wouldn't know exactly where the thing you're looking for is. You might have that general idea, but if it's not there, then like in real life, it could fucking be anywhere. Which I do understand people flicking off at that point. I think I did get off the game at that point. I think I was like, I have no idea where the fuck I have to go. I think I did turn it off, and then I came back with a clear mind.
Bit of a hissy fit.
And that is a risk. The more open-ended you make the story, the less control that you have over the player's experience.
Yeah.
Which is something that I think developers will, as the art form sort of develops and as time goes on, I think new ways of approaching that will come about.
I have another question to keep this going, but do we want to just skip it, or do we want to?
No, keep going.
No, so you know how you said I think it was Edith Finch that you just mentioned.
What Remains of Edith Finch?
That when you went around and stuff, and this relates to I think the first or second panel that I watched, and you watched as well. You know how what is the intended route for the player?
Yeah.
And you know how you have because in Edith Finch you just addressed that there are tons of little intricate things I'm assuming on the walls and on the ground.
It's like a house.
The lore aspects, But it's that's also another aspect why I would consider them soft, literature, because it is very unclear to what exactly is the author's or not the author, the designer's intended path, because there are so many. It's what is that one's true experience? What's that? What is the designer's hope to be the true experience? Because you could play the game, not look at the lore at all, in some cases, and there you go. And in one of the panels, he addressed all of these as being equally valid interpretations.
Yeah, it was the metagaming panel, the one that we're talking about now.
Yeah, and and he basically said, you could play Hollow Knight, take in nothing. You could speedrun it, and that is just as valid as absorbing the entire story, which is why I come to the issue, games being taught as literature within schools, because if you could say that absorbing zero of the story is the exact same as absorbing all of the story and all of the lore, it's
Yeah, see, I take issue with using Hollow Knight as a fucking example.
Yeah, I don't think it's
a literary
good
game.
for to take on canonical literature toe to toe.
With fucking Hollow Knight or
I think there's
fucking,
there's
what else?
better
There's
ones to
Animal
use.
Crossing. Fuck off.
Animal
my
Crossing,
fucking Call of Duty Ghosts.
Yeah, these things. This is this. I said this when you posted the fucking thing in there. This is why I can't convince.
Yeah.
It makes it harder. It's fucking I'm putting all this work to try and convince people to get somewhere, and then someone fucking starts rallying for Animal Crossing as a critique on fucking capitalism and whatever, and then it just brings the fucking whole thing down, right? It's if you were trying to fucking when films weren't accepted as art, trying to argue for that with all these art films, and then they bring out fucking Transformers 4 and you're oh, fuck off. Fuck off.
Yeah, it's oh yes, this is a real story.
Be a pain in the ass. But I think the one you said, I think there is room to be had with how we perceive text, and I think with postmodernism that has sort of changed a lot and strayed away from the author's intent. And I feel that is already pretty ingrained within the syllabus that we're currently doing, at least with our English teacher.
Yeah, well, our English cares so much about context that
I know it's so weird. That's weird because it's that paradox between so much emphasis is put on context, and then yet we're still expected to inject
derive our own interpretation and our own valid. But I just find it another factor in which leads me towards what I would consider the hard literatures as being better to teach and better to focus on as opposed to games and stuff. But anyway, so I'm sure we'll have a better debate on it at another time.
Yeah, I'm sure that can be a whole episode discussion, I reckon.
Yeah.
We'll have to bring someone else on your team to come on and balance it out.
Get the 2v2 going.
Yeah. Or organize it. Oh, that could be fun, for organize a little debate.
Yeah, so keep debate.
A little debate.
The debate club.
That's cool. Next thing
just some questions.
Yeah, next thing I kind of want to bring up is a panel that I didn't watch, I'm literally just gonna read the title. It is D&D in the Classroom: A How-To Guide for Educators. Did you guys see this panel?
I saw it
No.
pop up. I didn't check it out though. I was kind of curious. Actually, I think I saw like a second of it during when I was like scrubbing through to go find out the ads, Jade.
Yeah.
When we did that. But I didn't actually watch any of it. I just saw it there. I was like, okay.
Yeah, so I want to pose to you guys. I also have not seen. I didn't go watch the panel. I want to pose to you guys now. D&D in the Classroom: A How-To Guide for Educators. Do you think there is any value in any level of education for D&D to be used?
I don't know.
I think it'll be like easy points to like if you had like primary school kids maybe in like year 6, it'd be easy like if you set it up at like the start of the year, it'd make all the kids go yes, cool teacher, and then smooth sailing the rest of the year, right?
like a little bribery, like giving them lollies. That's
Yeah,
what you
yeah.
see
So
it
hey,
as.
you want some free time, and then that's like all that they can think about. They just think about that experience with like that teacher and like free time, and then they're like content majority of the year. And you just toss them like a little free time every now and then. They go, this teacher's incredible, and respect, right? I think it would be kind of a tool like that. I can't really see how it would be used for for proper education.
I think it's really interesting concept. I actually, if I knew that was because I don't recall seeing it. If I knew, I probably would have watched that because that sounds really interesting. I reckon.
I want to see how it could be integrated and like how it could be used.
Yeah.
Like I'm really curious.
My first, I thought like what would be the best like class to use it. I reckon probably drama would be like, the best class.
Yeah, no, yeah,
because But I actually reckon it's not good for teaching a syllabus, right? But it's good for teaching concepts, I feel.
Yeah.
And, I know, like, you'd say the syllabus is about concepts, but a lot of the time the syllabus has a rote aspect, and then you have to just fucking follow the content. Anyway, but, because, like, you teach how to cooperate with people. You also teach how to act, like, how to engage with multiple people, especially if you have disruptive people, and you need to do... There's a lot of, like, reasoning and resolve, and also how to manage, because... I've never played D&D properly. I've usually played like a butchered version of it.
Like the homebrew.
In which we don't care too much about the finer details, but I'm sure if you played the real one, it looks a lot more complex with all these stuff. And also there's a math, that quick math aspect.
Yeah.
Like quick roll your D5s, roll all your stuff and do this. I think it wouldn't be good for our year, but I think it could be quite good in, I reckon, maybe 13 to 15.
Yeah, I think
to
like
16.
like
just
early
because
high school.
at that point, you really need to understand like social, like how to negotiate with people, how to actually talk, and also acting is a key thing in some social aspects because you need to deal with some people and do stuff. But then there's also the fact that sometimes the games can draw people towards if they play a character in which they get too immersed in, there could be side effects.
Yeah, you could have like the
Lost
the
in the
clicks
game,
and, like, the yarn and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, you could have like the person who plays like the cat girl.
You stole all my gold in D&D. And the fucking friendship ruined
in the game because it's at that influential age,
Yes.
like that. Which is what I was but at that point they could potentially become too immersed. But I think if you do it properly,
on that,
would be a really good thing.
On that, I think it's an important skill to be able to differentiate between and different interactions. Like in different spaces, you interact with people in different ways, and I think for younger kids, they aren't at a point where they acknowledge that yet, and we see that a lot when we run our game development classes, Max. A lot of those kids that I have like prior relations with, they find it hard to differentiate between like me as a mentor, as a teacher, and like me as just like a friend, right?
Yeah.
And I think
I see that.
I think activities like D&D, it teaches people to be able to differentiate between different social environments.
Yeah, different social contexts and like environments. So, I agree. Yeah. That's why I suggested I think like year 6 level. Maybe even like year 7 or something.
I just think at like 13 and stuff, that's when like at least people who I know really get engrossed in like the social media stuff.
Yeah.
So I think making sure that they would also have this ability to still communicate in a fun, social, and like interesting, creative way as well. I think it would be. I actually think that would be a really good idea.
He's
I do. I think
It'd be fun.
there is. I think there is no chance that it will be integrated.
No.
But I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, in theory it is. It is, yeah. That's cool. And I think that's why it's, like Max says, it probably is more likely, if it ever actually is, it would be something that a primary teacher runs, where they're under no
Yes.
obligation to fill a certain course,
Yeah.
like outcome. It's, their job is to sort of prepare these kids for going to high school. And I do think the social skills acquired would benefit that. Especially, as you were saying earlier, in this digital age, where, I mean, I have no data, I'm no expert, but I would wager that social skills are, or at least IRL social skills are on the down or on the crash.
Yeah.
That's my prediction. I have no actual
Boomer
evidence.
dash.
Yeah. I feel like ways of negotiating, ways of reasoning are dissolving as people just find shortcuts like just blocking or just closing DMs.
Yeah, because you can't
Just
do
like
that while you're in a game.
sending emotes,
Yeah,
like
you-
spamming stuff just to destroy.
Yeah, you make a good point, like just blocking and just like it's gone, right? But
Yeah.
if you're in a game of D&D and there is a conflict of interest, you cannot just block the other
Yeah,
people.
like-
You have to be able to work out and collaboratively sort of come to a conclusion and work together.
Figure out how to deal with people.
Yeah, you can't just be like, "Fuck you," blocked, boom, no consequences,
Yeah.
gone. You're out of the.
Could you imagine if there
equation.
was like an office somewhere and someone like wasn't getting along, and so you know how you have like those cubicles, right? You just get like a bunch of like spare tables and shit. You just kind of like stack it up and it's like a wall, like you're physically like just blocking them, like because like you can't.
I was wondering
get
where you were
that
going
person.
with that, and then
Yeah.
you got there.
Yeah, because you can't. Because if you're in like a work environment, you're stuck with that person unless you leave or you
Yeah.
convince your boss to fire them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
it's interesting.
Cool.
That's interesting. Well, that's sort of. I think that's all the panels that I really wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
About you guys.
Same.
Anything else? No?
Yeah.
Cool.
They were all that I watched.
Well, we'll move on to I think a little bit of a broader look at PAX as a whole, and we look at PAX Rising. So, if you guys who haven't been to PAX before, I actually don't know if this is a worldwide PAX thing or it's just an Australian PAX thing, but there's a thing called PAX Rising. So, when you walk into the PAX thing normally, you walk in, and on your right, there's like fucking 20 like mini booths. They're like little like little stands, like a little fucking market stands, but they have like games on them and shit. And the developers are there, and there's like all these indie games. There's like about 20 indie games in this little segment. And you can go around and play all these new Aussie games and talk to the developers a lot of the time. I know I had a lot of time,
That's great.
a lot of a fun time doing that back in 2019.
You had a good time, like networking and stuff.
Yeah,
meeting,
Moz,
like,
you
a lot
were-
of the,
you came along. Someone talked to some of the devs. I remember.
Oh, the hat.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
That's
Well,
some
it's-
early lore right there.
It's in there. It's right in there.
Yeah, and I know obviously that's a small part of PAX for the majority of the people going there. But for me, as a game developer, that's actually my favorite part of PAX as a whole. And their digital translation of that, I'm glad that they did something, but I think it wasn't done in the best way.
No.
So what they did is they had between panels on each of the streams, so they had 4 different streams running, sort of like they had 4 stages in PAX normally. And in between each of the panels, there was maybe like a half-hour gap or whatever, where they would do 2 things. The first thing they would do is they would play little short clips for PAX Rising, so developers talking about their game, as sort of like a mini trailer, and then sort of what's the game about and everything, like what you would do at PAX Rising when you could walk up to the booth and you would have the game going and they would tell you what it is.
Like
Like that.
like a little spiel to you.
Yeah. So that's what the first thing that they did in there was that. The second thing they did was just pump ads. So I understand that they need to like make money, right? Especially because they would have invested so much resources prior, and then they just got fucking yoinked out from other. So they have to put the ad somewhere, right? There's two things I want to say about this. First thing is half of the ads. I reckon at least half the ads were ads for PAX.
Yeah,
Like,
for PAX Australia.
Ads for
They just
PAX Australia. I
had like
every
some like
time-
funky like effects on like
It was like
Yeah.
literal stock footage, and then
There
it
were a
just
lot.
said like PAX Australia on it, and I was like, I do not understand what the point of this advertising is. I am already.
I think it's just so that ads won't be like, because they only had like a small ad pool, so if it was like just like packing it out and like.
Yeah, so
filling
why
it
don't you
ads,
put
like,
more PAX Rising things in? Why do you have to
I don't know.
remind us that we're watching PAX when
Yeah.
here's the alternative: put a wider variety of more PAX Rising games, so people are actually watching the streams in between the things, so they're there for the ads. Because there is absolutely no incentive for an average person to continue watching the stream for half an hour of ads to
Yeah.
see like a 2-minute video.
Yeah, and then like the whole point of having like an ad is just forfeit, right? Because everyone goes, "Oh, okay, my thing's done," and they leave and they hop on to the next stream.
Well, the next one, yeah. So why?
Yeah.
Here's the first proposed solution. Why wouldn't they just replace all the PAX ads with like unique PAX Rising stuff, or like
Yeah.
anything, right? Just have like a.
Because it's not even like self-promotion in that case is supporting their cause
No.
at all.
No.
It's like there's zero. It's not even like a monetary gain.
No,
taken
yeah,
out
exactly.
of
Like
it.
I understand that they
So-
need the ads for those stupid fucking headphones that keep coming up because they get paid for that.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and Voodoo
What brand was
Ranger,
Audio
right?
Audio Technica, yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that works, and I understand they need to do that. But then the ads for themselves, it's like we're already watching. We are already
Yeah.
watching PAX. You don't have to remind us that we are watching PAX.
I don't get it.
So that just baffled me. Alternatively, I say scrap that altogether. Just run your stupid ads in between the panels. But just for PAX Rising, have like a half hour or like an hour segment allocated for each of the days, where it's just like they
Yeah.
go through all the indie games. Because most people don't give a fucking rat's ass about the indie games, right?
Exactly.
So just give it its own specified fucking time where all the people who are actually come online and have a look at it, right? I think that would have been like a better solution.
Yeah, because then also you get people like in the chat like at once, and then
Yeah.
you can do like some networking and stuff.
Yeah, see, that would be
But, yeah.
my ideal solution if they want to keep their ads for themselves.
Yeah.
I would like to hear why they chose the way they did, and I like we said before, this was kind of sprung on them out of nowhere. But I do think it could have been handled like a little bit better.
I'm just confused about Jade. You know the ones that were like, "Oh, and that's a fact about the internet," and have like some really just like weird like.
That's true. There were things,
trivia,
there
which
were things
half of
that
it was
weren't
like not even real.
Yeah, there were things that were like not an ad for PAX, not like a paid thing, just like a random internet fact.
It was just filler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just
Like-
kept looping the same filler things over and over again. I was like, oh my god, you are kidding.
Yeah. And so, okay, leading into probably the next thing that you were going to mention, how do you feel the distribution, or yeah?
Yeah, so me.
How do you feel?
Alex is
how
grinning.
how
Alex
fair
is,
do you think
Alex
the
is
ad
grinning.
distribution
Alex
was?
is grinning. Alex, have you seen we tabled the results of how much each
I
of
have
the
not
games?
seen it.
We
I've not
literally-
seen the
okay.
table.
For everyone who's watching, we literally, as PAX ended, we scrubbed through all 4 streams for all 3 days. For like 12 hours for each stream. We just like scrubbed through really fast.
It was
and we
actually really
tallied.
fast. It actually did not take that long at all, to be honest.
You know, it was actually quite quick.
It was really fast. That just shows how...
we were able to tally the number of ads for each PAX Rising featured indie game.
Yeah,
because basically, right, since we won PAX, we got to have
We
our
won
game showcased
PAX.
there. Oh, we won PAX. We won STEM
Yeah, they won.
Gamescom.
You guys
So
won.
we were able to have our thing showed at PAX, right, alongside of the other like winning titles and the winning teams that won in different categories to us. And so ours, I don't think we saw ours at all live, did we?
No, the one time that someone actually caught it was when we were streaming. Someone actually
Yeah.
went and scrubbed back through and like found one. And it was like
Wait, so
during
how
the one
many
time we were
times?
streaming. How many times?
All right.
2.
2 times.
And how many total ads were there?
I think there was like a bit over 70, or like around 70. So the highest played game was Mage Drops and UFO Tofu.
Yeah.
Alright, so Mirrors was played 2 times. How many times do you think Mage Drops was played?
Oh, I'm gonna say. Well, how many? Because you said there were 70 different ads, right?
Around 70. I can get a
And
calculator.
how many
And-
games were there?
I think there was about 1, 2, 3,
was like,
4,
what,
5,
8?
6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There was 10.
10.
I don't know. Maybe let's go. For the made one, we'll go like 90, 96.
96 out of 70.
Out of...
No, I thought. No, you said there's 70 games, right?
No,
you said there's
70
there were
total.
10 games and there were 70
total.
ads shown.
Yeah, 70 total.
So
ads.
70 instances of an ad being played.
Oh, I thought you meant like there were 70 different types of ads,
No.
you wanted me to guess. Okay, so there were 70 ads shown.
Yeah.
And how many did
10
that?
in 10
Oh, okay.
games.
I'll say 36.
Yeah, so it was 23. So it was like 23, 23, 19, 19, 17, 15. And then we have 3, 3, 2, 2. So these 4 games down the bottom just got absolutely shafted.
Yeah.
Now, so that's obviously skewed
Yeah.
because
Who was it that said, or I think, Dash, you asked what the sequence
Yeah,
was.
so
and
after
then they said it was random, right?
after the first I think 2 days, I was like, "This is what the fuck." There's been no
This is
mirrors.
sus. It's
I've
very
seen
sus.
mage drops, UFO tofu, and like fucking Palace of Vines a billion times. I was like, hey, guys, what's the distribution on the games shown for the Pact Rising thing? They told me random. They told me it was random. And I was like, bullshit, it's fucking random.
Yeah, no, that's
That's the whole reason why we went and did the counting, because I was like, this is ridiculous. This is not random.
It was like
it's
like
not
Sunday
random.
night.
There's no
and
way
we just
it's
had
random.
to go through it.
Someone can see with that data. Someone can go and work out what the probability that if it was random, that it would rock up like that. Because on average, it would be around like 7 plays for each game. If there was 70 and there was 10, it would be around 7. But the games go from 23 at the highest, right? And there's like 6 of them are like that, and then the rest are at like 3 and 2.
Yeah. And see, what you could also do, right, is like rule out the whole have the whole idea of, well, you have the indie games that are supported by PAX, which are showed more times, versus the ones that won the STEM Games Comp, that only get shown a couple of times, for like a little like novelty thing. But I know that there was one that scored with us.
That's not true. Yeah.
And there was one of the STEM Games winners, which was in a separate category that got like.
Yeah,
quite
up there in the up bracket with that are actually like played, right? Which
Yeah,
makes
so
no
that's-
sense.
that's
so
out
here's
of the-
here's
out of
my
the question.
theory. Here's my theory. Because the other game that is down with us at 2 plays is I have it abbreviated as SF2K because that's what they have it abbreviated as. Did you guys see the ad for this one?
no.
I think I saw part of it.
It was quite problematic. It was Sissy Fight 2000.
That's
was the name of the game, and it was like a turn-based like a battle game where it was like a trope, like gender tropes for like a bunch of girls like fighting each other at like a school grounds. Like that was
What? Wait, was this a STEM? Was this one of the STEM?
No, it wasn't.
this
It
is
wasn't.
an
This
actual
was the
like
indie game, just
Yeah.
supported indie game. Yes.
Yeah, this
Right.
this got played the same amount of times as
Right.
us at 2.
Yeah.
And I actually saw the ad for this, and it was not. It was fucking. I was like,
No, because remember, Jade, when I said, do you reckon they could potentially find the chip tune like too jarring to put in between like ad sequences? If that
well,
happened?
like the music.
Yeah.
It wasn't like mixed badly because you had like
No, it
Jade,
wasn't.
like
It was
Jade
fine
speaking
stuff.
over it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's I don't think it would have been.
No, because
No, 'cause I
then
don't know, 'cause
how do you
it's-
apply that exact same thing to the other 3 games that also got no plays, right?
Yeah.
Don't know.
You can't. See, this is where the only theory that I can actually come up with is what they wanted to do was shaft the STEM games and put them all 4 at the bottom, right? But then they had to air Sissy Fight 2000, and they were like, we cannot play Sissy Fight 2000 at PAX, right? So they were like, fuck, we got to swap out like one of
Eeny,
the-
meeny, miny.
Yeah, they have
Space
to
Bob
yeah, because
Space
it
Bob
would make
Advanced.
sense if Space Bob Advanced and Sissy Fight 2000 were swapped. You could
Yeah.
easily say the 4 that didn't get played at all were the STEM ones, and the
Yeah.
others were played more. The odd one out is Space Bob Advanced and Sissy Fight 2K, and I actually think it's a reasonable possibility that PAX did not want to air Sissy Fight 2K,
Fair enough.
Yeah.
especially if you guys actually watched the fucking ad for it. It's totally understandable why they might have wanted
Yeah.
to do that.
And then they just mix it up with.
That's
with
my
baseball.
personal tinfoil hat theory because it's
enough.
obviously not random, and that's the only one that makes sense to me. Is that they were intended to put the STEM games ones lower, but then they had City Fight 2K on their hands.
I guess because they might have just assumed that they would be of lower quality anyway because they were developed.
Yeah, I assume they already allocated those slots beforehand, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
Yeah. But no,
they just had to. Then he was just like, "Oh, we'll just pick one of them."
Yeah,
we can just
Eeny, meeny, miny, this one.
Yeah, it's just so weird. It's just so weird. And I asked them about it like on the last day too, and they just ghosted me. And I was like, okay.
And then the Discord got like.
Yeah. I would also like to clarify: this is PAX Australia that's doing the sussy business, not STEM Games. They've been very
Ace is good.
They've been very helpful throughout the process. Fucking PAX, on the other hand, the Discord mods. Look! They tried to help me, but they lied. They lied to me.
So then we took it into our own hands and
to get the data ourselves.
Got some facts and logic going.
Random my fucking ass. Oh well. So be it.
Yeah.
Good news, however, is the speedrun.com page finally got approved.
Oh yeah, that's really nice.
Have you checked it out, Moz?
I have not checked it out.
You gotta submit a run?
Yeah, just submit a run.
Oh yeah, Moz, are you coming along? Are you coming along for the creating clash?
Don't put me on the spot.
On air.
Yeah, don't put me on the spot. I have to think about it. Minecon is tonight, and I am definitely staying up. Well, I'm definitely.
You're gonna be absolutely ruined if you rock up.
So I don't know if I will have the mental capacity to do that if I don't sleep like after this recording until 2 a.m. in the morning.
Well, by the time this episode's out, you guys will know if Moz has rocked up or not.
Yeah,
you guys will
for the
know.
good old Create and Clash, the greatest esports tournament.
Yeah. Back for round 2.
Yeah, it's a sequel.
Yeah, and we have some more funky effects lined up to make the
experience
more authentic.
The sports graphics things?
I haven't seen that.
Oh, well, you'll have to.
I was away. I've been away.
Now get off your phone. You'll have to turn up tomorrow to
to see what's going on.
You're right. I will have to.
The recording's been going on for a while. We're gonna skip the Minecraft segment, Moz. You can talk about this on a later date, maybe after.
We'll do that.
We'll
do that once. Yeah, we'll do that in like a big Minecon one, I reckon.
Yeah, we'll have a Minecon special.
I'm sure there'll be some dream thing too that will come up.
Yeah,
which will be interesting.
That's a good segue actually. So me and Moz, me and fucking Max actually have been talking about going with season 3 moving forward, especially with Moz you going off to school and stuff. We kind of want to get a guest on every single episode. But sometimes what we want to be talking about is like game development and like that side of things, which is obviously you're not involved in. You don't really. A lot of the times when we do talk about game development, you kind of just sit there and listen to us. So when we have guests on for those kind of episodes, we were thinking, you sit out on those ones, but then you come on as like the recurring guest for like the majority of the episodes. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm down with that. It's definitely better. It's a lot more productive and a lot better if you actually have someone who's abreast with that game development.
Yeah. So you're like
me.
You're like the reoccurring guest who comes on like every second episode.
Yeah, the regular cameo. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that sounds good.
Fun.
And/or whenever we talk about Minecraft, that's like your.
You're the Minecraft expert.
Yeah. Minecraft, yeah.
Yeah. What are you doing at uni? You're doing.
Well, advanced science.
Yeah. Whenever we need an advanced science expert.
Man, we know who to call.
Yeah. Whenever you need something like quantum computing or like quantum
games.
Anything.
Quantum game and how quantum computers will shape the games industry.
Yeah. Yeah, so whenever you need that, just bring me on.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And we'll have you on, normally. Well, for like episodes like this where we just talk about like shit and everyone can weigh in. But for episodes where we sort of bring on an indie dev and we're talk about the dev process, you don't have to sit. You don't have to sit.
No, I don't have to sit there and be quiet for 42 to an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that was I brought that up. I was going to end with that, but it was segued into well. Now I guess we conclude with a little segment that I wanted to try out. Some media musings. We just a little bit of
Media
off-topic stuff, but
musings.
we just talk about any sort of media that we've been consuming over since the last episode. Could be movies, songs, albums, games, books, anything. I think if we go around in like a little circle, like a show and tell circle, and we give
Show and tell circle.
at least one
Okay.
thing. And I think while you guys have time to think, I'll start ourselves off with a recent thing that I watched. I actually watched this last night, Friday night movie. I watched a film called In Bruges. You guys heard of In Bruges?
I have not.
No.
No.
It's by the same director as the guy who did Three Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri, which is like a dark comedy drama thing, which I really like. This film was very different. It was more of a dark comedy, just like a flat out dark comedy with like some like actiony like thriller like aspects to it.
Mhm.
It was actually pretty interesting. The general consensus is, it was like the sort of summary of it is it's just like this guy is like a hitman, and he needs to go into hiding, and they send him to like the company he works for. He gets sent to fucking Bruges, which for like a parallel, Bruges is depicted as sort of like our like Bigo or something, just like a fucking like shithole like fucking town.
Oof.
Like that's the
Right.
like that's the whole thing. It's like him fucking complaining about being in this fucking shithole town, and then while they're in this, the whole thing's set in this shithole town. And there's like a bunch of different like antics that go on with a lot of the crime aspects of it.
Right.
And the writing was actually pretty funny. Like I haven't seen like a comedy in a while, and there was some genuinely like amusing parts, and I would recommend it if you're looking for a comedy film that actually still has something to say. Like it does have some deeper value to it. Like you'll leave it, and there will be questions that you'll still be thinking about. Obviously, because it is a comedy action thing, some of it is a little bit ham-fisted. It's not like some indie art like thing,
Yeah.
right? But at the same time, if you are someone who likes those indie art films, but then you have a bunch of friends that don't, I suggest a film like this will satisfy everyone.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
That's my
Good
contribution.
stuff.
Yeah, and I can probably segue on from that to do with indie stuff and film, kind of.
Well, a
So
little indie
on
film, Maxwell.
so sort of yeah. So basically, there was this I don't know. I was on like
This indie film.
Netflix the other day, and I wanted something to watch with like the folks, and found
Oh, Dave Chappelle's
this
stand-up.
little like kind of I think it was the Oats Studio. I think that's what it was called. Like series of like short films and like animation and stuff. Basically, I think I haven't looked into it too much, but I think a lot of it's to do with Neil Blomkamp, who's a dude who did District 9 and like Chucky and all that. He has some like really cool science fiction stuff going on, and so it was basically just like an ontology of like a bunch of their work, just like short.
Ontology.
Isn't that the word?
No, what is it? I'm asking.
Oh, like a bunch of like it's basically just like a TV series that have no connection with each episode. Like they're all different and shit.
Okay.
I think I'm using it right. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm probably wrong. I'm sorry.
I
if I'm
shouldn't have
wrong.
called you out then.
Yeah, no, that was terrifying. I'm like, oh fuck, I hope it'll just go under like the radar there. And so yeah, similar to like how Black Mirror kind of works, how like none of them are all connected, but but this one is more obscure. Like at least like Black Mirror kind of had like similar themes about it. This one, it would bounce off of like political satire to like this extremely like dark science fiction to like some weird alternate history and like of like the Vietnam War and shit. But I enjoyed a lot of it. Yeah, it was pretty cool. And yeah, it was just like nice small episodes from like this studio that can do like a variety of different works. And like a lot of it was I would like it to be adapted into like a full series. because I didn't actually know that it was like an ontology at first. I thought it was going to be like a reoccurring, like an actual just normal like linear series. And so when I went to episode 2, like there were like a lot of similar parts to like the first episode, and I was like, oh, this is a normal series. And then about halfway through that one, I realized that it wasn't, and I still had a lot of fun watching it because it was pretty cool. And so if you want something kind of like random to watch, some like small episodes, I'd recommend the Oat Studio on Netflix. Very fun.
Before I let Moz go, speaking of series, there's been one series that's been creeping pop culture by storm.
Oh no!
You guys know?
That's
your
mine.
okay. All right, yeah, go.
I wasn't going to take that one because I wanted to leave it for you.
Yeah, go, Moz.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know if you've heard about it. It's from this little indie streaming service called Netflix. Like,
wow,
yeah,
very indie.
Yeah. So Squid Game, right? I don't know why it's become such a big thing.
You've been watching it, have you?
I've watched the whole thing. I believe.
Oh.
Max
Yeah, same.
does.
I watched the entire thing.
I haven't seen a single episode. I don't even know what it's about. You guys can talk about it.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You go.
So basically, Squid Game, set in South Korea. Sorry. So, they get 456 players from just the city who are financially in ruins, and it is a mysterious guy who's offering them the chance to redeem themselves, win $55 million equivalent in Australian cash, in their currency, if they compete in 6 games. They agree, not knowing what would happen to them when they compete, and they compete for the winner, the last one left, the one who hasn't been eliminated.
Like a battle royale.
Yeah,
this is like a death game. Yeah,
exactly. It plays into the modern tropes of battle royales, which we see.
Well, to be fair, this is also
gaming.
just like the Hunger Games.
Yeah,
the poor people have to go.
But
fight,
they've really like
all the
risen
money.
in popularity. I think
yeah.
of recent times.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's that. I'm really confused as to why it's not. I wouldn't say it's a cinematic masterpiece.
Yeah.
Right. The story isn't a masterful story either, and the characters, sure, they're good, and sure there are sad moments in which you can empathize and you can relate, which are all key aspects of a good film. But they're like situations in which you'd be a psychopath if you can't relate and empathize and feel grief. So it's like pretty simple, easy peasy. It's fine. It's not bad. It's not fantastic. I'm just interested as to why it's such a prevalent thing, why it's taken, as you said, the media by storm.
Max, do you have any extra input? I know you have to go quickly.
Yeah, I have to go really. That's why we had such an early recording, but it's kind of a bit of a long one.
I have no insight to offer as to why Squid Game is so popular.
Yeah, it was cool. I like all the Roblox remix. They're very funny. They're a lot of fun. You just get kids that just die so easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all. Yep.
Okay, awesome, dude.
No, I'm not too sure. I think it's just because it goes into like a battle royale, I suppose, and it's a common thing, like gain money, right? Win money, but oh no, when you get eliminated, something bad happens to you.
Like a reality TV
I think everybody knows
the return of like the reality TV show, like the Islander thing where you get like
every masterpiece has that cheap copy.
Yeah. It's interesting, especially coming from it's not windy. Especially coming from like South Korea and a non-English company and broadcasting network, how it's swept through Australia, swept through America and Canada.
Yeah, literally the entire world. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I'd have to think about it, but I was hoping you gave insights, but I don't really have insight as to why.
Yeah, I have to go. I would like to discuss this, but
True.
He has to go.
True.
Well,
I've been recording for an hour and 20 minutes. So
Yeah, you can dip and then me and Moz will
Oh,
wrap it
okay,
up.
cool. And then you guys can just hang out.
Yeah.
All right.
No.
All right, bye, Max.
All right.
Max.
Bye bye. Bye
Bye,
bye.
Max.
Bye
Max.
bye.
Bye. He left. How
Yeah.
sad.
I don't know.
No, I have no idea.
I was hoping
I have
that
no
you guys
idea.
could tell me why why it was so popular.
No.
Is it worth
I
me
haven't-
checking out?
Well, I watched it in one day. There are 9 episodes. The episodes range between 50 and an hour long.
Yeah.
So 50 minutes and an hour long. It's like it's certainly not bad, but there's nothing lasting. Like if you think of a moral of the story,
Yeah.
there's no real moral.
Yeah.
There is a conflict which you don't really there's no real conflict aside from this innate straight right in front of your eyes conflict, which is survive and get the money.
Yeah.
But then after that occurs, there is a minor conflict, which is a conflict of philosophical outlooks on life, which is explored in one episode and one episode only, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
So it's not really impactful. It's just fast. It's fast lit.
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
It's fast food lit.
But that's I mean that's what I expected for it to be so popular, right? Like it's not like any
Yeah.
like any like fucking literary thing ever explodes and makes its way into pop culture.
Yeah. Something that has true deep meaning they have to analyze and like think about.
Yeah, there's no way
It's
anything like
just-
that's ever gonna explode. That being said, Mr. Robot, I'm pretty sure was fairly well received by the general populace. Like even people who aren't
Yeah.
usually into more like artsy sort of films and TV series and stuff. I'm pretty sure that was obviously not to the nearly level of like Squid Game or stuff, but it was still
Yeah.
something that was accessible to people who wouldn't normally watch that kind of or consume that kind of literature, which is interesting because it begs a question of like how much directors and composers should sort of pander to a wider audience to sort of pander is probably not the right word. It has negative connotations with it, but having text be accessible like because otherwise it becomes sort of elitist in a sense, like as someone who may not have like when you were younger gone through a higher level of like literary education, you may feel alienated from trying out these new other films other than the latest like blockbuster smash hit, because everything else is just made for fucking weirdos who went through like high levels of like English in like high school and uni and stuff, like, and then it's just there's no like middle ground, and I feel like things like Mr. Robot I think were that middle ground for a lot of people. And shows.
Well, I'd certainly say this is on the blockbuster Transformers side of it, right? There's no real like meaning derived from it. It's just you could say, of course, there's the undertones of capitalism, in which I'm sure there are also critics who have gone through and analyzed it as a critique of capitalism, but in reality, it is just the typical battle royale where there's like a cash prize, and there's no, because all of the potentials to like show like camaraderie in a place of like destitute or stuff, there's still like there are places in which that arises, but then the show actively breaks camaraderie and stuff, because there's some games in which you can't do it, or they say do something and then you think it means one thing, but in reality, teaming up means a completely different thing.
Yeah, I think that's where like a concept like the Hunger Games actually kind of like not that I really like the films or the books or like anything, but like the concept I think is actually ripe with doing interesting things with it, because everyone understands there's like X amount of people. I think there's 12, and they all only one person can get out of there, and yet there are still people teaming up and working all this stuff out, and a lot of the moral and ethical like dilemmas, all the cards are on the table. Like you understand.
There are like small ones in each game. There is something that's addressed, which is like a ethical question,
Yeah.
Because some people have information, some people don't. Some people can like get better, have advantages and disadvantages, and there's the camera and stuff cinematography deliberately pans to show these as significant issues.
Yeah.
But not they're all like it's like when you're at a ice cream parlor and you want to get ice, you say, "Oh, I want ice cream," but you just kind of take those little like spoonfuls, the little free handouts. So you get a try of all of them, but in the end, like none of them feel filling because you haven't had. And I still don't think the collection of all of these little things creates like the ice cream.
Yeah,
the ice cream
yeah.
ball. It's just like all of these snippets which don't necessarily work too well. Well, they work fine together because it's a fine show.
Yeah.
But I suppose if Max was using the word right, like it's a ontological show in that respect, as in the ethical questions that are addressed. Although there are broad ones, as every show has a archetypal story.
Yeah. That's interesting. I don't know. I might check it out, but might not. I don't feel obliged to, but hey, could be cool. Could be cool.
It could be.
Could be cool. Maybe make me less alienated from the pop culture. Maybe give me some more funny quips to say on stream.
Yes.
I know what's hip.
True.
Know what's hip. Stay up to date.
Mm-hmm.
Well, before we end the podcast, we have to do one little thing. We have to say big thank you to our lucky patron of the episode. You get a little bit of a shout out.
Oh my god.
This episode's patron, randomly selected, is Tesseract tier new patron Carsten Eckelman. Moz, you actually know, we know Carsten.
Yeah.
Carsten is a recent good bloke, recent subscriber of our Patreon at the Tesseract tier, which means he gets like a bunch of most of it's like voting stuff. Most of it you get to like vote for like so when we make an announcement of what's going on, chances are the Patreons probably had like a little bit of a like invisible hand in what was what was going on. So if you want to support us, you can, and it's people like Carsten who let us keep doing what we're doing. So thank you very much. On that, now instead of me telling you to look at the description and look at all the links, you can go to the description and look at soulcube.com.au. Just head there and everything is there for you. I'm devastated that Maxwell is no longer here, as he was the one who put the site together. But he's done a pretty good job. This looks pretty schmick.
Looks very nice.
Yeah, and all the links to everything are there. So instead of our link tree, our Soulcube was taken link tree, you can now just head to our actual website. So with that out of the way, thank you all for joining us for this episode of the Soulcast, and we'll see you next week. Well, not next week, whenever. At some point. We'll see you at some point after Minecon to talk about Minecraft. So get excited for that. All right, have a good one. Peace.
Thanks for tuning in.